Hello, relatives. Welcome to this week's Schlagbyte for the week August 7th, 2007, entitled An Eagle Feather Lands in Red Wing. As a community psychiatrist, I believe that mental health is not solely determined by intrapsychic mechanisms, so that in addition to infantile traumas, our sense of well-being in the world is also determined by outside influences like poverty, racism, powerlessness, as well as positive influences like teachers and mentors. So rather than just identifying patients' internal conflicts and prescribing medications, community psychiatrists focus on getting families, schools, churches, and service agencies to come together to support their most vulnerable members. Building a collaborative model where talents are pooled helps to identify, intervene, and help people before they become desperately symptomatic. This is a preventative model of health rather than an interventional approach. For 14 years, I was the only psychiatrist from my area of the Indian Health Service. We had not a whole lot of resources, and it was critical to be able to mobilize and help tribes identify their strengths. I worked with teachers to help them identify and intervene early with children. I brought traditional healers into hospitals and trained community health representatives and doctors and nurses. But I have never worked this way with non-Indian communities. That is, not until recently, when my friend, the CEO of a hospital in a small city in Minnesota, asked me to help him design a community healing ceremony. As a 10th anniversary gift of its presence in the community, he wanted to sponsor an event that would promote the idea that living together in community actually promotes health. It didn't take much to persuade me to go to Red Wing, Minnesota, for what he called my discovery tour. He wanted me to meet and talk with people, walk the streets, look at the support structure, and then make some recommendations to him about making the ceremony happen. Red Wing is an extraordinarily lush, verdant Mississippi River valley of about 16,000 people. It has eagles nesting in its riverbanks. Driving into town is like entering a Dutch master's painting. 95% of Red Wing's inhabitants are descended from Scandinavian and German Protestants who arrived in the mid-1800s. And when they came as new settlers, they were greeted by Chief Red Wing of the Medwakanton Dakota Sioux tribe. This Dakota community is still here, a lot more affluent now because of its profitable casino, and represents about 3% of the population. The other 2% are by and large Hispanic, mostly Mexican, and African American, and they represent a growing presence in schools and social service agencies. Red Wing is a community that shares a common ethic of mutual support. They build art centers, concert halls, they support their local baseball team, they fill the new hockey arena. They hang fresh flowers from downtown lampposts in the summer. They are environmentally conscious. My discovery tour included time with the mayor, civic leaders, philanthropists, artists, fishermen, waitresses, and bartenders. I spoke with kids and teenagers, retirees. I visited the Anderson Center, which is the largest artist community in Minnesota. On my last night, I met with the hospital board for dinner. We dined outside on a bluff overlooking the Mississippi River as the sun was setting. I told the group what I'd seen and that I thought Red Wing was a living example of a collaborative model of health. And the board understood the importance of mobilizing their strengths and moving proactively into the future, while at the same time staying connected to the principles that have sustained the city's remarkably healthy soul. The sun was setting when our hostess spoke, and she said She lived in her home for 9 years, and for the first time this morning, she found an eagle feather on her lawn. She wanted to give it to me, and it sent, and still does, shivers down my spine. I took the feather and talked about its traditional significance and its serendipitous arrival at this magical moment in time, and how the healing ceremony that we were contemplating had clearly already begun with this blessing. And then I walked alone to the embers of the charcoal cooking fire and waved the curling smoke skyward, carrying my words to touch the ear of the Great Spirit, and I said, "Thank you for all the gifts that have sustained us in community. Bless this community as it moves into the future." And in the language of the Metawakanton Dakota, said, "I say this for all my relations. Mitakwiyasi." Those are my thoughts this week. Let me know what your thoughts are. Check out the website for workshops that are coming. And remember, we are all in this together. Nobody makes it alone. Live in community. Touch somebody. Remind us that we are together. I say this for all my relations. Mitakwiyasi.